Hello and welcome to Activate and Thrive, and to our viewers and listeners in the United States. Very happy Veterans Day to you today. We're very happy today to be bringing you a special Veterans Day edition of Thriving Thursday. We hold these Thriving Thursday chats every Thursday at noon Eastern US time as a live Facebook event on our business page, Activate and Thrive, and we also share them to YouTube later. So whether you're watching on Facebook live or a little bit later on Facebook or on YouTube, thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Don.
And I'm his better half, Mia.
Absolutely.
Our guests today are Suzie and Al Benjamin. They live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They are a faith-filled couple and parents to 4 wonderful children, ages 12, 10, 4, and 3. So that keeps them pretty busy. Suzie has a background as a certified athletic trainer with 13 years of experience in the various settings, including high school athletics and orthopedics, orthopedic surgery, and now she is a stay-at-home mom. And Al is a Navy veteran, like my daddy, who served on 4 deployments overseas. He has a degree in radio broadcasting and currently works as a field operations manager for a top communications company. And they were introduced to this global wellness business, which connected our paths, by Suzie's brother, John Jelinek, who is a chiropractor. And I will just say that Al was skeptical, but decided to give some of these products a try that we are working with. And it was truly a game changer for his health. He suffered mental and emotional stressors while in the Navy, and he's found just major benefits in activating his body's cellular health. And they both saw this as a vehicle so that Suzie could continue to stay at home with her children and also provide extra income for their family. We know that financial stress can also have an impact on our health. And they've also just been able to bless so many people on this journey towards better health, better wellness, and financial health. So welcome to both of you.
Welcome. We're honored to have you today, especially on Veterans Day.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for your service as well, Al.
Yes, to just defend our freedoms. We're so grateful to all of our veterans, and today especially to our guest, Al Benjamin. So what was that?
Oh, nothing.
Thank you guys so much.
I was slouched over and she's like, hey, watch your posture. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, but the camera is right.
Husband and wife, just so far the things that, yeah.
True, very true. Thanks so much, though. It's an honor to be on here live with you guys, and we just appreciate you so much. You have such servant hearts, and appreciate everything that you do to share this with people as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We happen to know that the two of you go back to high school days. So you've known each other a long time. And we'd love for you to just share a little bit about your story. And definitely, Al, we would love for you to touch on those invisible wounds of war that don't necessarily get the same focus as physical injuries. So if you could just, share a little bit about your story, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. So Suzie and I met, I have the date, so I'll just stick to the years. So Suzie and I met in 1998. We've been together pretty much ever since. We halfway through our senior year, we remained friends, and then we actually got back together again halfway through her sophomore year of college. So in that time, we both went to college. She stayed in college. I went 1 year. I was actually a double music major. And then I joined the Navy. So I joined the Navy in May of 2001. Honestly, I went in thinking, okay, well, maybe this will help me get back on track and like growing up. And then September 11th happened. That kind of changed the whole trajectory for everybody who was in at that time. And we saw a gigantic influx of people who wanted to serve as a result. So things completely changed at that point, fall of 2001. I got orders to a couple of different schools, and then for different training, and then I went to the Navy, like the real side of the Navy. So I was on a boat, you know, and then my ship decommissioned. So I did 2 deployments in the Gulf, protecting oil terminals, things like that, running off pirates, things like that, and then got orders when my ship decommissioned. So we retired her, and then I got orders to the Seabees, which is like on the land side of the Navy. So their job is like their motto is we build, we fight, can do. So what they do is like if somebody needs to, like a unit needs to advance into somewhere, Seabees will go in there, help fight, clear it out, and then build the infrastructure needed to establish a base or whatever. So a lot of forward operating bases in Iraq and Kuwait and Afghanistan. I did not spend any time in Afghanistan. You know, those were done by Seabees, and my job with the Seabees was their armor. So I spent a lot of time fixing weapons, shooting weapons, cleaning weapons, teaching people how to use weapons, and spent my fair share through another 2 deployments in the sandbox. So it was definitely hard because I was deployed for, like, out of 6 total years active duty, I was deployed for 33 months, which is almost, you know, 2 years, excuse me, almost 4 years.
Almost 3.
Yeah, it's just over 3. So, or almost 3, excuse me. So, anyways, yeah, it was a lot of time away from family and things I was familiar with, and going through a lot of different things. So that's my story.
Wow.
I will just share that, you know, we were engaged for 3 years, or excuse me, we were together for 3 years before we married. But in that 3 years, after he joined the Navy, we saw each other only about 3 months out of that time before we got married. And we were engaged, you know, he had come home for leave over Christmas. And I was a junior in college, and he proposed, and we were engaged. And again, that was during that 3 years that we only saw each other about 3 months. And so that was an experience for sure.
Well, I would say that the spousal side of it is also, you know, dealing with, because they're dealing with the separation portion, they're dealing with the emotional side of the triggers that happen when that person that they love is back in the home, you know, and what they're bringing into the home. And so I can only imagine, but definitely we want to applaud our military spouses and families as well. You know, we know, and studies show that nature provides many therapeutic, you know, healing benefits. But too often, I would probably venture to say that veterans experience barriers to those benefits because, number one, insurance doesn't cover it. You know, when you're choosing an alternative approach. Can we just segue and you talk about how the healing power of cellular activation impacted your journey, Al?
Yeah. So a lot of, I will fully admit, a lot of vets become addicted to things, whether it's prescribed or not, to help deal with it. I didn't really fall into that category, tobacco. But I mean, you know, like I wasn't like a raging alcoholic or anything like that. But I do know a lot of my friends that I did serve with, you know, they fell down the drugs and alcohol and things like that. Not everybody, but you know, when you look at we all kind of shared the same experiences. How are we all coping with it X amount of years later? This time of the year is especially difficult because it's kind of this day, like I spend a lot of my day reaching back out to my brothers and sisters that I served with, making sure everything's okay and whatnot. But every year is kind of the same. You see everybody, like that number of people you can reach out to gets smaller. That's not an experience exclusive to me. That's everybody who served. So I know I didn't want to go down that path. And I had tried a lot of things. But mostly I stuck with the VA, getting therapy and things like that. They wanted to put me on antidepressants and things of that nature. And I'm not a big pill person. In fact, I was afraid of them. And so all of that was kind of out of the picture. So I tried to do it on my own for too long, I think. And finally, it kind of came to a head, I would say in 2016. Meanwhile, Susie's brother was sending me scientific study after it was like way overwhelming. It was just overwhelming. I knew it was coming from a good spot, right? I knew he had a beautiful heart. I just couldn't buy into it. I was like, this is baloney. So when Susie and I moved to Sioux Falls, South Dakota in 2017, I was like, you know what? I will do this because I've never moved with kids. It's always just been Susie and I. We've been able to move a lot. But now moving with kids, having a different job with the company, which I enjoy working at, but I had to give it a shot. So I started activating with Nerve 2 and Nerve 1. And I didn't notice it. I noticed I was calm, but I didn't notice it as much as Susie and the kids noticed it. I would say it was probably about 60 days where Susie's like, gosh, it's just so, like, I'm so happy. Like, I'm so happy because you're so, like, you're you before the Navy, you're you before deployments. And I hadn't thought about that. And that really hit me hard because it's like, gosh, so was I, like, you put up with me not being good? Or you know what I mean? Like, not being someone she's always loved and cared about me, but man, kudos to her for putting up with that. I didn't realize how impactful that was to her and to the people around me. Then my ears started opening up because it was like, gosh, there is a lot of people who love and care about me. And I found products and people who just get to know me and still love and care about me as much, if not more so, because you can tell they've got no interest outside of helping, one thing that made a huge difference, I believe, is understanding and respecting the tie between gut health and mental health, which I think is huge. I don't think it's.
Let's just say that again. Between that got swallowed a little. It's really important between gut health, gut health and mental health. Great.
Gut health and mental health, I feel like isn't talked about enough, and I wish that was more commonplace today. No matter where you looked, where you saw, there's a lot of billboards that call out PTSD. There's a lot of information packets and so on and so forth. It is a wound that doesn't necessarily heal, and it's not visible. Depending on how long it goes untreated, it may never be right. It may never be normal. But I don't think there's enough emphasis on gut health to mental health. And I think that's where these products have made the biggest impact in my life, personally.
I have to, that's incredible. I have to say, I cannot imagine that the typical approach with PTSD in the establishment would be, now let's look at your gut health. I can't imagine that that's considered. Would you say that's pretty much true, or?
Yeah, because I feel like it gets lumped into, through my experience, through multiple therapists and whatnot, in my experience, it's you have a chemical imbalance in your brain. You need to be on XYZ. And then you need to take this pill because XYZ causes this side effect. And you know what I mean? It's kind of like, we'll give it to you for free. And so that's good. And blah, blah, blah. And I don't subscribe to that. Like, I don't believe that to be the case until these products came along, these all natural products like NRF2, NRF1, omega-3, probiotics. Until these products came along, it made perfect sense. It's more of what you're doing is you're synergizing yourself and activating yourself, what your body can do. And that has helped me manage my PTSD.
Wow.
I will always live with that.
And we all hear that our gut is our second brain, and 70% of our immune system resides in the gut. And if that's leaky, as they say, how is that impacting other parts of our bodies and causing issues there? But just that mental health that you're speaking about and how closely that's connected. And they first immediately were going to the brain, with these remedies and not thinking about that. So that's such an important point to bring out. Thank you.
And if I could just offer clarification to our audience. So you mentioned omega, as you mentioned, probios, and these concepts people are familiar with. One thing you said, NRF or NRF2 and NRF1. Let me just explain to our audience that NRF2 that Al's talking about is a pathway that's basically responsible for antioxidant production in our body. And then NRF1 is a pathway that's responsible for mitochondrial health. And so these products he's talking about are addressing on quite a massive scale both of those areas of health. And let me just ask Al, and of course we want to engage you as well, Suzie, because you're here too. Right now we're kind of asking Al a few questions. Could you talk about your experience a little bit more before doing what we call this activation of your body, your experience managing PTSD? I think you've already said how it felt afterwards, but how was it before you found these products?
For me or Suzie?
Well, it's Suzie is we can ask her, but right now at this moment, you.
Yeah. Really, I think the biggest thing was wanting to emotionally process everything and not knowing how. It was hell.
Wow.
If something happened that was great, I would feel like I want to give my son a hug or a kiss, or that I want to tell him I love him, or that I wanted to emotionally process and cry about something, and I just couldn't do it. And so it's like, from the outside, I felt like I was becoming the most like emotionless zombie who can't express himself, can't associate emotions with events and feelings. And as a result, you feel like, am I the only one? Because I'm around my family who can laugh and cry and have a good time. I'm around Suzie, who obviously has no problem showing that she loves you or dislikes you, which I've never seen her dislike anybody. But the point is that it seemed like everybody was capable of living when I wasn't. And I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody about it. And I didn't know how to fix it. It would lead to so many episodes of anger, outbursts, so much so that I wouldn't even be able to tell you what I just said or had done. Punching a hole in the wall, yelling something that was definitely inappropriate. I wouldn't be able to tell you that just occurred. So it was horrible. It was horrible. So that's what it was like before.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I not having gone through any such experiences whatsoever, I imagine that some of the inability to express emotion and to connect with things is part of the hardening of the training to be able to be in war, basically. Is that the case, that you're trained not to feel emotions, and then that kind of carries over? Is that how it is?
Yeah, because there's still a job to do.
Right.
Exactly. Like those situations don't go on timeout so everybody can feel it out. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, okay, time on, It's not like Wayne's World where they had to move the goalpost, let the car go by, and then you can go back to playing the game. It's not like that. And
Yeah.
I think so often of deployments, like one on top of the other, then wait a couple years and then go out for another year. That wasn't good for me. I don't think that would be good for anybody. That's not to say some people can't turn it on and turn it off. I am not one of those people. I was trained that way, and that training stuck. And so
I expect many people are that way that come out of war. Yeah.
So that is, Suzie, I want to segue because, we've heard that struggle from Al, and I want to segue to what was the catalyst that just said that you just woke up and said, I have got to help my husband, or this is going to be a sinking battleship, literally.
And right along with that, if you could include a little bit about what your experience was like with Al in this previous time that he just described.
Yeah.
They kind of go together, those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like, just number one, talking about it is so healing, because I come from the mindset of you just kind of don't talk about it. I mean, it's such a personal, vulnerable feeling. And so it was really hard for me to share with people what was going on, because I felt ashamed. I felt ashamed that I couldn't help him. I didn't really know how to deal with it. And so just being able to talk about it freely and be able to share a story just to hopefully have some effect in helping others or some impact is just so, again, healing and so amazing. It feels so good to talk about it. And my experience with Al when he was going through these, symptoms really, head on was that, we had almost three kids at that time before we moved. And that was about 4 years ago. And my experience as a mother was kind of that protection of my kids. And just kind of letting it slide and wanting to help him so much, but really wanting to protect my kids too, and not wanting to, expose them to all the hardness that was going on too. And wanting them to know their dad as a great father, which he is, and he was, but there was just those instances that really were hard to deal with. And of course I wanted to help him as much as I could. And what he doesn't say was my brother is a chiropractor. And so he, had found these studies linking oxidative stress to PTSD. And I think the greatest thing, now knowing what we know with NRF2 activation is that oxidative stress is reduced significantly by flipping that pathway on, that NRF2 pathway in our bodies. But so significantly, in fact, that oxidative stress is linked to so many health conditions that we just don't think about. And it's inflammation in the body, it's rusting of the body from the inside out. And so really learning about that and really, honing in on that's what's happening in so many people's bodies. But really, again, that link between oxidative stress and PTSD was really important to understand. And I just, if anybody, takes away anything from this, is just really understanding that link. But before Al activated his body, it was like walking on eggshells around him. He was angry, he was anxious. It was hard. It was hard to know what to do. And again, I just kind of tried to let it go. I tried to let it slide. But after, and he mentioned about 2 months, I would say about 6 weeks after he started activating his body and activating, that pathway and really improving his cellular health, he would come home from work and he had just started this new job. We had just moved. We had 3 kids. It was a stressful time. And he would come home from work and he would ask me what he could do to help me around the house. And I knew, at those little moments that came back at me, I just was I was blown away. And I was able to, tell him hey, this is what is going on right now, that this is a big deal. This is a game changer. And, he had more energy. He was, more playful. He was just the fun, lighthearted, funny guy. Al is such a funny guy. And he makes me laugh. And that's why I love him so much. And that came back, that man that I met in high school. And so I just, I can't, have more gratitude than I do right now for what we have our hands on.
That's extraordinary. It truly is. Was there?
We choked up.
Absolutely. Was there a moment that you saw the impact of this? Like you said, he came home and said, "What can I do to help?" Was there an aha moment? Wow, this has kicked in. As of this moment, I can see it, or was it a gradual improvement?
It was gradual. But there was those key things, what can I do to help you today? There was those few key things that was okay, that's major. That's a big deal. And so, I always will remember those big things, but it was gradual over time. And I would say, again, it didn't happen right away. Of course. And he was patient and he was consistent. He was so skeptical, And I just was just encouraging and, encouraging him to be consistent. And he found a great routine that worked for him. And it was amazing. And he's not a great pill taker. He said that too. He doesn't like to take pills. He didn't want to have prescription medications to deal with this. And I fully supported him on that. I didn't want him to become numb or have to take anything, anything more to deal with extra side effects. I didn't want that. That was something that, I feel like it was kind of a Band-Aid approach in this instance. And I was really, really wanting him to do more of a natural approach. And he was on board. And so it was really great to do it that way.
Oh, that's so beautiful to hear. You know, when you say that he was skeptical, and we totally understand that whole idea of wanting to approach things on a healing platform naturally, as opposed to having to be reactive, you know, with a different modality. But I want to ask Al about the skeptical aspect of it. So how do you help others who are skeptical?
Well, you know what? She again asked a question that I'd like to tag something on to.
Okay, please
So
do.
how do you help others that are skeptical? The thing I wanted to and wrap this up with, because very sadly we're at the point where we have to start the process of wrapping up. It comes way too fast. But what do you have to say? And you can answer me as first if you want, to your fellow vets who might, you know, you are so blessed to have found this, and scarcely everybody is finding it. What do you have to say to your fellow vets who are just struggling and longing to be able to come out of this, or to make progress at least? So that kind of two-pronged question we have here.
Yeah. First of all, I will say this to those who may be skeptical. If you haven't tried it yet, that's not skepticism. That you're doing yourself a disservice. It's that simple. It's you're afraid that it might work. Honestly, I get it. I was a skeptic for myriad reasons. I think number one was, if this works, who am I now? When you go back to who you were, that's not a bad thing, especially when that was a good person, right? When that was somebody who other people genuinely loved and cared about. So tying that into PTSD, it doesn't have to be service connected ordeals. It could be anything. That comes in several flavors, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, and to vets, I would say these 2 points go together. Yes, our service was great. It made us who we are, good or bad. And it can be a chapter, but it doesn't have to define the whole book, right? There are parts of me that I loved because of the Navy, and there are parts of me that I'd give anything for to go back to, like the guy Suzie fell in love with in 1998. The funny kid, the kid who loves singing opera, the kid who loves playing guitar, the kid who loves doing these things. That person can exist too. Just because the Navy happened and the deployments happened or whatever, and the loss and whatever, all of these things occurred, I still need to like work hard and become a better version of myself. And really what I need to do is just go back to being who I was. I hope to live a very long time, right? There we go, get this. So if I live this long, the Navy is going to be this long. I'm not going to let what happened here ruin the rest of this.
Oh,
if I didn't get activated, the rest of this would have been a lot shorter and it would have been horrible. That's a fact. There's no doubt in my mind that things would not have been the way that they are today without getting activated. So skepticism, I get it. It sounds like a bunch of crazy who, you know, whatever, phooey. But if you haven't tried it, then you're just scared. And that's not an attack on you. I'm just saying, don't be scared. Don't mix being scared and skepticism and lump them together. They're not. You're not being skeptic. You may just be afraid of that it might actually work.
right.
And thank goodness if it does, because I bet it will. But to vets, for a lot of us, like we feel like, oh, it would have just been issued to us, right? Nope. What? We all signed on the dotted line. We all gave our time. Totally understand, respect the heck out of that. But after that, we're just another number, and we now need to pick up ourselves, and this is a great way to do so, if that's what you want. Don't do yourself a disservice by not putting forth the effort to get activated, because that's exactly what you'd be doing.
And it's
Wow.
not that is so beautiful. Thank you, Al. And it's not just in regards to PTSD. You know, we want to be preventative. I mean, we live in a very toxic world, and there's so many things that are inexplicable, like how somebody who's never smoked a day in their life could get lung cancer. You know, and it's because we have to turn on our body's ability to activate and upregulate those survival genes, if you will, and turn down what is causing issues. So it's just so beautiful, your story. And gosh, we thank you both so much.
And finally, just uh, even outside of the realm of these products, and you've certainly been very clear to your fellow vets, look, don't be afraid to try it. But outside of that, even can you give one little nugget for a vet who's struggling to something to latch onto to try to move forward somehow? Do you have any little pearl of wisdom from your experience?
Yeah. We all swore to, protect this nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic, right? If you are not trying to get help, and you're not opening your ears to the people around you who may be the best resource for you, then you're not defending yourself from yourself. Like don't give in to the self-fulfilling prophecy, like I'm gonna be a vet, I'm gonna have all these terrible experiences, I'm gonna be the quiet guy in the corner or whatever, and I'll die and nobody will care. There are a lot of funerals that I've been to where there were a lot of people who cared. Don't do that. Right? Don't believe that that's it. Your book isn't done yet. It's just one little chapter, a very impactful, meaningful chapter. Not a whole lot of people in this nation will ever get to have in their book. That 1%. So don't let how significant you are be what takes away the rest of your significance, I guess. I don't know. Just don't quit on yourself. You're worth it. Give it a shot.
That's beautiful. We might just have to put that quote at the beginning of this post with this live, because it's here at the end of it, and everybody deserves to hear that right away. We have one of our guests who says, "God bless you and your family. Thank you. This segment was fantastic and appropriate on Veterans Day." So indeed, we echo that. Thank you to both of you for being here today on this special day of honoring our incredible vets. And to our audience, thank you for watching. What we've been talking about here, partly that in a massive way helped Al manage PTSD, is this line of very all-natural products that go in on a cellular level and have an impact that really nothing else out there is having. He has shared his extraordinary experience in turning his life around. And so we just encourage you to look at this, connect with us, drop a comment, and say, "I'd like to know more about this." As he said, don't mix skepticism with fear. Don't be afraid to see what this might do for you. Whether you're a vet dealing with PTSD or anything else, we are all products of this. Mia and I take these products, and we haven't been through war. It's for anybody. So please consider having a closer look. And thank you again, Suzie and Al, for joining us today. Friends, look for us each Thursday at our Activate and Thrive page for these lives that run at noon East Coast US time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. What a gift. We love you guys.
Happy Veterans Day.
Likewise.
Love you.
Thank you.
Love you.